Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another live stream. If you are new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we hop on the charts on this beautiful Monday, I was going to say Wednesday, Monday, December 15th, the last really solid trading week of the year, which we'll talk about. Make sure you view us on the screen. Trading is risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you always do your own research, make your own trading decisions, read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Chat, what's going on, guys? How are we doing this morning on this beautiful Monday? Good morning, guys. Terrier, Paul, Kobe, good morning, good morning, good morning. Dwayne, King Trader, Tondi, King Trades. What's up, Muhammad? Ezal, what's up? Yo, good morning. King Trader, Zach here once again for us. Every damn day, guys, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Been doing this for quite a while, and I ain't going nowhere. I have literally racked up now hundreds of hours of live trading here on YouTube. Also on Kick and X. We're live across platforms. Appreciate you guys being here. You here once again in the chat. How about that? Release, what's up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's hop into it, man. Let's see what we got. So I'll start off by talking about what the first thing I said when I hopped on was last really full good trading week of the year. So today is December 15th. We can actually look at this at on the financial calendar, financial news calendar. It's forexfactory.com. Not partnered or affiliated with these guys. I just use their calendar. But if we take a look at what we got coming up, we have a full week of trading, meaning all markets are open all days here, right? Monday the 15th through Friday the 19th. Then we come into Christmas week. Whether or not you celebrate U.S. holidays or major religious holidays or whatever you do or don't do, probably important to pay attention to the time of year it is. We're coming into the end of the year here. Thursday, December 15th, we are closed all day for Christmas. Leading right into that, right after, in between Christmas and New Year's, because New Year's Day is going to be Thursday, January 1st of the following week. I personally find it to be some of the worst trading conditions of the year. I've talked a lot about it in the past. I yapped about having a really tough period a couple years back one of the lowest points in trading where I spent time just hammering it through the holidays and losing money rather than spending time with my family. I'd encourage you not to do that. But whatever you do, decide how you're going to structure your time, right? Plan accordingly, schedule your time to trade. Trade, show up, focus up when you're supposed to be trading, and then get off the charts and go hang out with your family or do whatever you're going to do. But in general, this is by far the last solid week of trading. Next week, we got a couple of days ahead of Christmas. Very, very low expectations. My foot's going to be off the gas coming after this Friday for the remainder of the year. I will be live with you guys majority of the days that the market is open. You can go ahead and hop in the Discord. Link is at the top of this, pinned to the top of all the chats if you want to check out the live schedule. But even on those days that I am live, like in between Christmas and New Year's, I'll be, running some duck races, hanging out with you guys. I'll talk about waiting for opportunities really patiently to come, but I don't like to press it into the end of the year. I have experience doing that, and it traditionally just does not end well for me. Even this week, I think we could be in for a volatile week. Contracts are rolling over in the futures market. I believe we should be on the new contract today, really, if I look at volume and open interest. Once this market opens up, we should get an update from the CME site. We can take a look at that together. But we also got a lot of news. We got quite a bit. I really wasn't paying too much attention to this until this weekend and into today, where I posted in the Discord as well. Quite a bit of red folder news coming up tomorrow. We have a scheduled ADP weekly appointment change. No, just tentative. A whole bunch of stuff for 8:30 a.m., 9:45 a.m. We got not much by way on Wednesday, and then we are again hit on Thursday with some red folders. So cracking all-time highs in YM, pretty volatile movements after FOMC last week. I do think we could see some movement coming into the end of the year, as in like this week, right? Halfway through the last month, December here. I think we could see some movement. So I'm focused up. I'm ready to trade with you guys. We are here on the Top 1 Futures pre-live 15K account on Project X. Won't be on Project X for much longer, as you may or may not know. Should be getting some more announcements coming out of all of the prop firms that are moving off of Project X and onto whatever other trading platforms they have, like Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, and TradingView for Top 1 Futures. Continue to talk about that. I got more and more tutorials dropping. But today we're here on Project X, trading the live account. On YM, on the 15-minute chart. Been testing a whole bunch of different things. Been messing around with a whole bunch of different things, different ideas. After doing a lot of review, I like to do a lot of review coming into the end of the year. I think that's a healthy thing to do. A lot of planning, a lot of goal setting coming into 2026. That's how we keep things moving forward. But for now, we are looking at the same chart, looking at the same instrument, same time frame. Analysis. Here's what we're looking at, guys. Very strong bullish market continuing off of these November lows, all the way really off of these April lows. If I zoom out on the daily chart, very, very strong. Yes, we have lots of opportunity for back and forth price action and movement, but overall on the much higher time frame, week over week, this is a pretty damn strong market, pushing the highs into the close of last week. We did get some selling pressure on Friday. Just did not have it in me to take a short. This would have paid multiples, but doing quite a bit of review on last week. Not as great of execution as I would have liked early on, and then not by being a little bit too aggressive, and then not as great of execution as I would have liked later into the week being too conservative. So you got to try to keep it down the middle. Take your L's back to back, take your wins back to back. Just keep doing what you're doing. You can see how nicely this zone came in. These are the exact zones from Friday's markup. You can see how beautifully this came in. It doesn't always work that way, but it's pretty simple the way I mark my stuff, guys. Very, very simple off of price action and volume profile. Looking at high volume nodes, low volume nodes, area where price has put a lot of trading in to mark up key levels. So this is going to be prior day low, Friday low. I don't need that there. This is a key level. This is definitely a key level. This is what I'll be looking at if we start to turn to the downside. I think we could easily revisit this this week. If we don't just blast off early in the week and turn down later and form a bearish close, I think an easy pull back down, right, to start to form a wick to the downside before a push to the upside, even if we're going to maintain that structure. So looking south, right, I try to look above and below price action, right? Looking south, looking left, here's what we got. Area of high volume here. We can even Yeah, you can even see it on a higher time frame, right? You know, we got some price action market structure. Look at how clean this zone is right here. Really, really key level. Right back down to the 48,000 evens. It's also a huge round psychological number. You don't have to be a genius. I'm sure there's 47 other technical tools and, you know, statistics that are providing around this level where I have a discretionary zone marked. That's good enough for me. So outside of that, well before that, we got prior day low, right? You know, we pulled back into this area and tested, so it took off right to the upside. Maybe we come and check this out again. Not 100% sure on that. We got our highs up here. It's going to be our weekly high, prior day high. I have a level marked, the 49,000 evens. I found it interesting. This has stayed on the book, or at least have come on and off the book. Again, I'm still looking at the Z contract, the YMZ contract. I'm going to take a look at volume and open interest as we come into... this is actually a continuous contract on... oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Not a continuous contract on Bookmap. But I'm going to be looking at volume and open interest once this market opens up. Get another update on that. Take a look. Project X, you don't do anything. You can't roll. You can't change anything. It just automatically shows as one contract. And then I guess by tomorrow it'll be showing the H contract. You can trade continuous contracts on most platforms, but some you do have to manually change. So be aware of that. It's not a daily or weekly occurrence, but you do have to be aware if you're trading in the futures market. About contract rollover and coming to the front month. All right, market's getting ready to open up, guys. So, you know, again, frame and trade ideas for this. I like to remain unbiased. If I had to create a higher time frame bias, it's to the upside, obviously, right? Areas of interest to the downside, I'm going to be looking at prior day low first, just right down around this low if I wanted a really, really aggressive buy. But really, I'm looking down at this level for a potential reaction if we started to really aggressively sell off and turn down through VWAP. Al goes off coming into the morning here. We pop to the upside. I'm curious of the 49,000 evens. Above prior day high, all the way into the 49,000 evens. I think we could see a gnarly reaction after right off of this level. I'm probably going to look for something really aggressive short if we pop up here. It'd be short in all-time highs, be short in a bullish market. But I'll be looking for something pretty aggressive. We pop right up here and clear this liquidity. You know, I really wouldn't mind trying it right back to VWAP. Depends on what happens first, right? We come all the way down here, and then we come up here at 2 p.m. Am I looking for a short for rejection back to VWAP? No. Very different market structure, price action, volume, right? But here we are opening up right back to VWAP. Let's take a look at the other U.S. indices for you guys. Really similar structure out of NQ and ES. Not terribly surprising. These opened up and just popped to the upside. No news Monday. I will note this, talking about the news calendar. No news Monday. We are here on a no news Monday. We are after FOMC. We're after quite a bit of volatility. I still don't think it's a terrible day to look for some trades, but it is worth noting that it's a day before quite a bit of news on the calendar tomorrow. That often is going to generate some choppy, consolidating, hesitating type market conditions. Not always. But that's what we're looking at. To the downside, I got a zone down here. It's the same level, same zone. I don't have to mark this stuff up as much for me. I think it's helpful for you guys. As you guys know, on my YM chart, I do zero markup. Literally zero markup. I just run a couple of indicators, which are really just volume tools. Not so much indicators by way of telling me which way price is going to go or overbought or oversold. VWAP, I think, is the most dynamic of them. But anyway, let's see. We kind of chop around here within yesterday's candle. I'm not too interested. Friday's candle, you know, I'm not too interested really below prior day high or above prior day low. I really don't see a setup that would be a valid setup for me personally. You know, if we got close up here, we got close down here, maybe, but from the extremes, that's what I'm looking for today. You know, as I'm saying that, only other thing is if we chopped around here quite a bit and then we started to form a lot of structure. We tested VWAP, and then we were coming up. Maybe it was like a continuation trade to the upside, or vice versa. You know, we put some lower highs in. We're hammering into the low. Maybe we're looking for a continuation, more breakout style trade to the downside rather than from the extreme, but we'll see. So far, pretty calm open. I'm testing VWAP and just chilling out here. But we got some action coming up this week. What is up, everybody? Welcome. Good morning. Pam, what's up? Nate, what's up? Andrew, afternoon. How about the Birds yesterday? Fun. You guys talking Eagles. NHL Profit, what's up? Glenn B, what's up? Adam, what's going on? Can you give a quick overview of why 48,000 is so strong? Missing why you picked that specifically. I see some resistance and support, but at slightly different levels. Okay, yeah, let's talk about levels, right? So first off, we got rid of a level here that acted as really, really beautiful support on Friday, right? But essentially the question is, you know, how am I marking my levels of interest, my areas of interest, right? You can call them levels, you can call them support and resistance, supply and demand, order blocks. There's different definitions for all of that. I think it overlaps, and I like to keep my stuff stupidly simple. In general, my areas of interest are going to come from, number one, a couple of market-generated levels, market-generated information, objective levels, which would really just be narrowed down to prior day high and low and pre-market high and low, right? Prior day high, prior day low, pre-market high and low, which pre-market low is going to be all the way down here, right at the open, and pre-market high would be coming right into this open. Past that, and the level that we're talking about, the 48,000 evens, where am I getting? You know, if we start to sell off down below, what is my area of interest? You know, why is it not here? Why is it not here? Why is it here, right? Two areas, two real key pieces: volume and market structure. I often say price action and market structure because those are a little bit interchangeable. Market structure, I believe, is more of a higher time frame view of highs and lows getting put in. Price action is more of a zoomed in view on individual candle formations, high, low, you know, where the close is, where the top wick is, where the bottom is. But price action, market structure, and volume. When I say volume, I'm talking about a volume profile, right? A horizontal display of volume. So what I do when I start to look to the downside, right? I zoom out really aggressively on the 15-minute chart, and I first, it depends on what I look at first, right? You can look at price action, market structure, and say, where have we put a ton of highs in with big reactions? Where have we tested a certain level multiple times? And then where have we found impulsive moves off of a level? And then along with that, where is the next high volume node, right? Looking at visible range volume profile, zoomed out on the 15-minute. Now, this is dynamic, right? It changes as I display more or less price action market structure. So you can say, Zach, that's not that clear. That's discretionary. That's subjective. You'd be correct. This is subjective. This is my opinion to draw a zone here. This is not objective market-generated information. And if even I erase that zone, it would not be at the exact same spot, right? That's my utilization of discretion, right? Subjective interpretation of the tools that I use, because I don't find being 100% objective and so pinpoint based on market-generated information helps. In fact, I find it hurts. That's my humble opinion of the whole thing. But that's where this zone is coming off of. Price action, market structure, right? Multiple tops and bottoms put in here. Obviously, to me, this obviously looks like a really key level. This would be the top end of it, despite having some pretty big wicks above. You can see where we tested multiple times, failed to get above, retested another key level down here, right? If I had to draw a level off of this area, where would I be drawing it? The exact same spot. Take a look. Right? Multiple highs, multiple lows put in here, tested before we pop to the upside. High volume node. Then, high volume node over here to the right-hand side, popped above it, retested, big impulsive move, right? If we're going to return to an area, right, what is a key level that I think we may find some support, we may find people interested in the market participants ready to do business and catch the falling knife there. Maybe right there, right? Does it have to happen? Absolutely not. We can blow through whatever high volume node or volume point of control or market structure, price action, whatever line you put on your chart, the market can completely disrespect it. It could stop before, it could stop after. Market could do whatever it wants to do at any time, okay? It's really important to understand that. Despite all of the technical analysis we do, there's no predictive power of this, right? There is no one, centralized thing that is going to say exactly, the way that this is going to go. There's a ton of underlying fundamental drivers behind it. But I do believe, right, acknowledging that, looking at the technicals, we can provide us some repeatable patterns that we can attempt to exploit, and certainly a good way to structure risk, right? So I hope that answers the question. So along with that, you can add more, right? You can say, that's cool, but where is a big round psychological number? I know when I backtest, right? You might say this personally, that big round psychological numbers on the U.S. indices seem to come into play, right? They big round numbers, right? They act as psychological support and resistance zones, key areas, because there's no other real reason that price should stop on a dime at some big round number. But you could take a look at the 48,000 evens. Look at how that came into play as a key level, right? It's why I have an area marked up here, the 49,000 evens, and you can even see on order flow, we got 1,000 sit and sell side. 100 sit and sell side up there, which is big for YM, at least on this contract right now. So, you could add in more things like volume profiles. You could add in, volume points of controls, right? You could take a look at, some other key volume profile, volume levels. You could use a million other different things to mark this. Pivot points or, whatever other crazy things you want to utilize. But that's how I mark my areas of interest, right? There's a couple really key objective ones. There's also some ranges once we start to open up, right? Specifically initial balance, which I like to differentiate between objective, market generated, right? Not my opinion where it is, and subjective, discretionary, right? Discretionary zones. So hope that helps. Answer some of that. I think try to make it as simple as you possibly can. Forget about keeping something super insanely complex in a way to zoom out in backtesting, right? Clear your chart and just mark zones off of price action and market structure. Play the chart forward and see what happens. Is price often, rejecting or consolidating at that level? Does it return to that level? How is your, zone drawing abilities, right? From a discretionary standpoint. Usually people are great. People are pretty great. As long as you're pretty wide with them and you go for the really obvious stuff, it's not that hard to do. It comes time to being patient and actually wait for these levels to be tested and not jump in ahead or below or be pissed off if price gets close. But that's where I'd start with it. Come off of price action market structure, or just come off of a volume profile. Just mark up high volume nodes as they start to form on a visible range volume profile, or mark up levels off of a daily volume profile, right? Value area high, value area low, volume point of control if you're trading more zoomed in. And kind of just look at it that way. So that's my 2 cents on drawing zones. No magic, no special way to do it. You can come up with another way. You should probably come up with your own way, the way that you find confidence in doing. Chris, what's up? NQ NHL, what's Muscle fan? What's up? D Morrison, what's up? Appreciate you guys for hopping on. Rhombus, spiking. I get it. Using volume as a primary and secondary sub-market structure. Thanks for walking through that. Yep. It's a combo. It's a combo meal. For me, price action, market structure, volume, I think in equal parts to draw that, right? But those are looking at the same thing, right? There's typically not going to be a key level where we've tested multiple times and consolidated that doesn't have a high volume node attached to it, right? Like it's a similar display. Price action and market structure is going to coincide with a volume profile. They work together, right? We're typically not going to have a high volume node where there's been no price action except for one candle that ripped through on news, right? That's just not, there would not be volume there. So I hope that helps as well. Good morning, gang. Yep. We'll see what this market's got for us, man. So I had a pretty back and forth week. Last week, just not a whole lot of action at all in the live account. One trade on Monday, I swapped over to start a challenge on some instant funded accounts that I was in over my head as far as the time commitment of actually doing. Decided to take my foot off the gas on that really before I even started. And just not a lot of capitalization on market movements. So I've done my review like I always do. And my goal for this week, my very small goals for this week, because I always try to set new goals and be ready to roll, is to improve, be ready to improve, is to be ready to trade, right? Be focused up, be on the charts, fresh and ready, hydrated, caffeinated, and wait patiently for my setup to come, and then execute without reservation or hesitation, in the wise words of Mark Douglas. Be ready to take L's, be ready to take wins as the market comes to me. Not carry a bias of what happened yesterday about my trade or my P&L. Not force an unhealthy bias on the market, which I know typically does not help me. Recognize that we're coming into the end of the year, that we may just kind of chop around and not get anything. But also recognize we got some news this week. We're past FOMC. It is the last good week of the year. Be ready for that movement. Be ready to capitalize if that if that momentum starts to come into the market, right? And my setup presents itself. So that's my overarching, which is all obvious stuff. It's what we try to do every day. But to execute well, it could be summarized as executing well, right? Waiting patiently, creating the if-then statements, focus on the chart. Is a setup approaching? Great, right? Like the ready, aim, fire thought process, right? Where am I getting ready? Where am I looking for, a potential trade? Where would a setup come for me? What would I need to see happen? Aim, we're starting to move towards that. Let's get ready. And then fire as soon as we're there, right? As soon as we get that, hey, this is the spot, And then let that bad boy play out. Take that win on the chin, take that loss on the chin, keep it moving. Manage my trades well. Watching this bad boy retest VWAP here. Maybe we just kind of chop around this this level in between. I don't know though. I don't know. Let's see what this Marcus got for me today, chat. Songs that are coming on here. All right, there we go. We got some selling pressure coming in, guys. This looks like a potential short play. I don't like this. It's a little early for continuation. We're 15 minutes into the session. I don't like this so far for a short play from down here for a continuation trade. It's not terrible, but it's not from the extreme the way that I liked. It's not even close to Friday's high. We also have an untested volume point of control up here, a naked VPOC, as the saying goes. We've got our 49,000 evens up here. If we pop to the upside, like I said, right off the open, I could potentially see a short play. If we pull this movement first, then come up here, it still could be valid for me. I really could easily see a return back to this level. Again, it is counter to higher time frame market structure price action where we've just been pushing to the upside. But if we are going to move today, I could definitely see a movement there. We could just slowly grind. We could just continue this move from Asia, London, which sometimes does set the tone. We got a wick to the downside. It's not like we really do have to fill anything out. Yeah, this could go either way. This could really go either way. I'm not going to have a massively strong bias on this one. If we come down through these lows, it's definitely going to look like a clean short. We flip this one bearish. We start to come through prior day low. You know, there's a good chance that we just kind of chop back and forth. We come all the way down here by 250 points, take this out, and then like kind of come back up, hang out at VWAP. But option 2 is we come right down here, right? We form a really nice bearish bar correcting some of that. What would look really clean on this higher time frame structure, right? What would be really reasonable, right? You might say, yeah, Zach, the market's going up. It's right. Like, would there be anything wrong with that at all, or would that look actually like really, really clean, right? So, you know, this could be a multi-day move, right? We're talking about, you know, trading the low time frames intraday, and then this could be a multi-day move. We could absolutely just blast off right from here. But I think that's completely reasonable, if not even a little bit lower. Timing is going to be our key here. Down through VWAP, right into the open. Yeah, if we just dump here, I don't have it. If we dump here, it's not a setup for me. Really not. Like this isn't really appealing to me. I think you'd have to try that more than once if you got stopped out and then we came through the lows. Yeah, no real mean reversion, over-exaggerated wick up or wick down movement out of YM for the open. Just sold off to the downside, just kind of came through VWAP. Looks like we want to head towards this area pretty quickly. Temporary volume point of control, consolidation in the low end into the afternoon from Friday, back down towards prior day low. It does look like that's where we want to head. Do we want to just break through the low? Will we retest? Could look for some kind of continuation short on this one if we pull back up. You know, retest VWAP for continuation down. Where, you know, I'm pretty much dead wrong if we blast through. I don't love having this just untested up here, and I don't love having this up here, but this wouldn't be bad. We dump from here. I'm no trade, at least for the next few minutes. We pull back up to VWAP after doing this, right? We got sellers stepping in. We get some nice breaking retest structure. I could consider a short. Again, it's not my favorite with an untested volume point of control up here. But we'll have to see. If I had to bet, we dump here. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, gun to my head if you were like, you got to be long or short right now. Go. I'd go short. Give an early move in gold and bullish after London. Gold going in fall. Nice. Fundamental trading, break till January sometime. Too many lost XFAs and evals. No reason for, other than forcing trades to be right. Mike, I think that's a mature, really mature thing to say and do. You know, you gotta pull the plug at a certain point, right? You know, trading's a business, and if you're running a business that is at your hand not netting, you know, any results, and you just keep having the same issue over and over and over again, there's a point where you go, all right, let me just stop funding this business, come back to the drawing board, just step away for a little bit, and then come and reset and try to come back clean and clear. I think it's a really solid thing to do, man. We're coming to the end of the year. I think if anybody's in that point, now would be a good time to just take your foot off the gas, use these next couple weeks to review. Again, you have a lot of days off. The markets are closed a lot of days for holidays. It's terrible trading conditions. And then, you know, come back fresh into January. if you said, Zach, you have to take 3 weeks off a year, right? It's the next 3 weeks after this one. If I had to, I think it's some of the worst trading conditions. So I think if there's any time to take a break, it winds up well with the market just not generally being a great trade. So do that. Don't keep hammering it, right? It's kind of like, there's a lot of analogies. I like the analogies. And most of these aren't mine, right? I've heard them from someone else or some book I've read or whatever it is. It's like if you are driving a car and all of a sudden the motor starts to knock and you got a flat, right? And you could hear it and you're riding on a rim and, you want to get to your destination, right? Your destination is 1,000 miles away. You're driving from, Vermont to Miami, and you're in the middle of that drive and you keep going. Rather than pull the car over, try to put some oil, check the antifreeze, check the coolant, replace the flat, right? Put the spare on. Instead of just taking the time to step back, not move forward at all, actually move back, let the clock keep running, fix the car or try to fix the car, what do we do as traders? We fucking hammer, excuse my language, the gas pedal. We hammer the gas pedal. The wheels are falling off, the engine's blowing up, and we just keep hammering it and hammering it and hammering it. What does that do? That just creates the exact experience that we don't want. Worse and worse and worse and worse. It just continues to get worse, and we push it harder and harder and harder. As it's getting worse, we're pushing it way harder. And, we run the car into the ground, right? We run our results just completely into the ground. And then when we have to stop, what happened, right? We blew the car up. We burned way more money than we needed to. It takes way more to fix it, right? We're starting from way, way farther back. So when you notice that, pull the car over to the side of the road. Change the flat. Yes, you're missing opportunity. Yes, you are not moving forward down the road, while other cars are flying by you going fast, right? And it's frustrating. But what's going to happen if you hammer the car when it's blowing up? Wheels are going to fall off, man. And you're going to be stuck on the side of the road a whole lot longer with a whole lot more money in repairs. So I really liked that analogy because it can be difficult to do that. Again, you're on a highway. You're on 95. You're watching cars blow by. You gotta pull over, man. You gotta give it a break, and try to fix what's not working, and then come back and start the car up and pull back on the highway. Okay, is it still making a sound? What do? We pull back over. We try to fix it again, right? You don't just hammer it. Some people do, and it ends in, usually, sometimes the whole car blows up or breaks, so they crash, and then they never get to trade again. Which is a reality for most traders, actually. They run themselves into the ground, and then they're done. Usually it's within 3 to 6 months. I think 12 months is a super high statistic, and then, they're done. So, don't have shame in doing that. Don't feel bad about doing that. It makes logical sense, and it doesn't make sense to do the other thing. So, I've been there before. I've continued to hammer the gas pedal when my car has been blowing up, and try not to do that. Try not to do that. So, guys, selling off here. Yeah, this looks like we could look for a short play, man. It would be a continuation. Could easily be just a retest before a pop back up, right? Continuing a bullish movement, but I don't know on this one. This feels like we want to flip this candle bearish and potentially turn to the downside. We pop back up here. I think there's good opportunity to the downside on this. If you were looking to buy a dip, you could take the exact opposite trade that I'm thinking. You could just get long here, right? I don't think there's a terrible play there. I'll always try to make both sides of the case for both sides of the market. You could just get long right in here, right? Area of high volume, pretty key area from Friday. Long stop loss down below this low. You say, hey, if we flip the daily candle bearish, we break out below prior day's low. I'm wrong. We're moving, 200 points lower. And you could long this bad boy. You could long right back up to volume point of control. And in fact, at this point right here on the chart, if you said you have to take a trade based on risk structure, I'd actually get long, even though, directionally this looks like we want to come lower. It's not as good of a risk structure for me to get short on something like this, which is side by side. Like, one is not more important than the other. If anything, the risk structure is more important to me. Where can I have my entry at a key level, at a good area of interest, and to stop at a clean invalidation point? Even if I feel like I have a great read of the market, I really think, I know what's going to happen next. I always recognize that I don't know what's going to happen next, and anything can happen next. And if I have a stupid stop loss and a stupid entry, I can be right, super duper right, and one little pullback or wick is just going to take me out and then continue. And that to me is not, is just the worst case in trading. At very least, if you're entering where you say, I don't know, maybe it's a coin flip directionally, but I got a really good way to structure risk. I got a really, really clean way, rather than, I don't know, it's a coin flip directionally, but I have a terrible entry and a terrible way to structure risk, where if it goes and trades past my stop loss level, I still think it could go in the direction that I'm trading. That's not a good way to trade, right? It just comes down to invalidation points. Anyway, watch this market. Turning to the downside. We've sold off kind of slowly, 200 points. Nothing crazy yet. I don't know. We come through the lows on this? Is it gonna dump quick? Is that it? It's just gonna be a straight shot to the downside? Nothing. Yeah, we keep having these types of movements right off the open. It's gonna get me on the lower time frames eventually. How we doing, y'all? Nate, what's up, man? How we doing, chat? How are we doing today? Appreciate you guys hopping on. As always, we're here trading live, 9:15 a.m. Eastern, 100% free on YouTube, Kick, and X. Sometimes we give out accounts. Sometimes we run some duck races. It's Christmas coming up. Maybe we run some duck races. Maybe we have some fun. Maybe we get some more people funded. Yeah, at this point, guys, just kind of finding some buyers down here. I could see that long play. On a retest of VWAP and just hold this as a bearish day. I might pull something where I give myself 2 shots today, guys, on MYM. I'd like to get some trading in, and again, it's this really fine line between being too aggressive and being too conservative. We came right down into this level. We saw cumulative volume delta start to jump. We saw some volume pick up. I really do think we either find buyers and snap right back to VWAP here, or we come right through this low really aggressively to the downside. So far, we're going to make a case for the 450s, which I'm going to look at for a potential level of interest here. Don't really want to catch a falling knife. I do like the long play with a stop below prior day low for a pull all the way back up to VWAP and past. I'm considering this. I'm wondering if I want to do this with half risk is my only question. Do we knife here? Do we knife lower? Do we find buyers and snap back? This is the question, chat. This is the question. We are down at an area of interest here, right? Here's what I like about this. Key area of interest to key area of interest, right? High volume node to high volume node. We are right back in this high volume node. I think if we come through here, snap right back up, it's going to be back into this high volume node, or we come back down through here. Maybe we dip down here really aggressively. Don't find any buyers as we probe lower and just pop right back up. That could certainly be in store. But I'm looking at buyers try to defend this level, and I do have a way to structure risk on this. One more time just to frame this out. Yeah, it puts a stop down below prior day low for a run back up to VWAP and above. Where's 450?
Order filled.
I'm gonna try this one from down here, guys. I'm getting long on this bad boy. If we just knife lower today, obviously I'm on the complete wrong side of the market. I'm gonna try this one long. I'm not gonna give myself 2 trades. I'm not gonna be able to flip as fast as I'd like to if we knife lower. So I'm getting long on this. I'm long from 48,487. Stop at 48,289. Entry right around this area of interest, right? Area of high volume, temporary volume point of control here. I think the 450s could be interesting. I'm not waiting for that level right there, right into the open here. I think if we are just going to sell off really aggressively to the downside, I'd be looking all the way down to this 48,000 level. But I'm looking at this to pop back up, test VWAP, which would generate a win in itself, and potentially higher, right? Just kind of chop back up here. If we dump, I think now the dump is going to come quickly. I would like a test of prior day low and a pop back in, right? Could pop some stops right here. I got enough room here to hold on, right? 65 points or so to a stop loss level. So we'll see what we can do. Trade number 1 of the week. Waited for the open, 10:05 a.m. Nothing crazy right off the open. Sold off to a key level. Not super conservative with the entry, waiting for something insane. But watched us find quite a bit of buyers right in here, stall for quite a while. Try to hold this, but so far it's kind of just continuing this little slow drift lower. But that's gonna be my play. No management to the downside. Where would I be getting nervous on this? It'd be a full win, right? You know, we'd be looking at, you know, a 1R trade on this one, right back up to this level, popping back through VWAP. I wouldn't be closing out. I don't think I'd be closing out before then, unless we really were looking at something odd on price action and market structure. So that's, why did my stop loss level change? That was weird. What was good with that? What the hell? Well, now I have to put it at a different level so I could actually see what happens. All right, 985. Stop is at 48,290. Did you guys see that? That was so weird. 48. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. 48,290. Was it a time frame switch that did it? I've literally never seen that happen before. That was super duper weird. I had moved my stop loss, it's set, and then I jumped around on the chart and it moved back. Or at least that's what it looked like to me, unless I'm totally tripping out. I have to go back and watch what I did. That's super duper weird. I don't know. Maybe I need another cup of coffee, but that's what it looked like happened. Very, very odd. Maybe just the price was calculating incorrectly. I don't know. Anyway, let's see what happens here. Let's give me my trade. If I take an L on this one, it's pretty much going to be the one and done, the live account. I've kept risk pretty low on this account. This is a top 1 futures pre-live 15K. I could literally have on multiples of the amount of risk that I take on. I'm more limited by the contract size, but the daily loss limit I think is 3K, the soft breach on this. I haven't had a loss exceed $1,000. I haven't had a losing red day exceed $1,000. And I think that's why I've been able to just kind of continue pushing forward. So I'm going to keep it that way. I've been trading 1 mini, which is the contract max. So it's not super conservative by any means, but I don't think it's also super duper aggressive. So anyway, that's my trade on this one, man. See if we can't run it long. See if we can't run this bad boy long. Again, I think we got a pretty good chance of a move at least back to VWAP, even if we are going to continue some structure to the downside for today. I think if I am wrong, I'm pretty dead wrong. I do think this could happen, right? Anything could happen. You know, we could see a crazy wick lower and then a pop like back up, but I think that's much less likely to happen. I think if we come down here, you know, what are we doing? We're closing this day bearish, right? This is going to be a down move on the day. I'm wrong. A short from this level would have paid, right? And we don't come back up to, you know, generate a potential win. So again, I really resign myself. And again, this has helped me in my trading. It might not help you. Plenty of people, this is just not the thought process. But I resign myself to understanding that I do not know what's going to happen next in the market. I will never know. I've tried for years. I think everybody tries for years and years. And then eventually they realize I can create a pretty good expected value with win rate, risk to reward, exploiting patterns over a large sample size. But I don't know what's going to happen today. I really don't. I can try. I can create a bias. I can take all of these things into context and try to understand whether we're more likely to go up or down and where we might do that from. But if you remove so much focus on that entry and place more into risk structure, what do I have to see for this to give me a clean entry? For my entry area and my invalidation point to be in spots that are really clean, right? Where I say, if I'm correct, I got a really good way to capitalize on this. And if I'm wrong, I'm really dead wrong, right? Like I didn't get stopped out 47,000 times. You don't have to trade that way. Plenty of people do go the other way where they go, I'm going to try the same thing multiple times. I'm going to try this with low risk. I run really tight stops. My stop loss isn't so much of an invalidation point. It just is going to be a risk unit that I want to use multiple times over and over and over and over again until maybe I get it right. But, you know, I prefer... I shouldn't say I prefer, but this on YM seems to work well for me. I'll leave it at that. So that's my mindset, right? And I think for me, it keeps me from getting too tilty. It keeps me from getting too frustrated when I take losses or excited when I take wins. And it keeps me more down the middle, which is so important for successful execution in trading and emotional, management. When you're constantly saying, I know what's going to happen next. This has to go down. It has to do this for all of these reasons. It has to do this. It doesn't have to do anything. And if you trade for long enough, you're going to realize it don't have to do anything that you want it to do. And it will not enough times and beat you into submission to realize that, it might do one thing over another more often than not by a pretty good percent. It doesn't have to do one thing over another. So anyway, that's just kind of the mindset, the psychology. Some of this can be abstract. It can sound it can sound like it contradicts itself because it does. It's a paradox, right? It's this paradox that we have to operate in as traders. Easier said than done, of course, right? Nobody's happy nobody's super duper psyched and happy taking an L or super duper, sad taking a win, right? Usually. But you try to keep yourself down the middle. It's important. Let's see. We said we were talking about this. How we doing now? Effing beautiful day. Feeling blessed. Nate, that's the energy. Spiking. Yep. Good to hear. Every day we have air in our lungs. It's a blessed day. That's true. Every day I wake up, go to the gym, use my body and brain. It's an amazing day. Chat. Man, I love that, guys. I love that. God is good. Don't do that, man. Big sell is coming. Go check out ES daily. Maybe. Right? Like we were just talking about. Maybe big sell coming. Maybe not. We'll see. Always the nice moves when I'm not trading. Well, it's good to watch and not be involved. It is good to watch and not be involved. Mike, don't get FOMO on these, right? You said you were going to take some time off. Take your time off. Reassess. Focus up. Go from there. But yeah, man, right? We're all going to have a bias throughout the market. We're all going to have a direction that we want to trade. So spiking, short it, man. Short the hell out of it. I don't hop on here saying, I know what's going to happen next and you should trade in the same direction. Nope. You might have already taken a win right here. You might have said, dude, I trade with, I'm trading with 15 contracts and I got short and I just picked up, 45 points. And you catch a dope win. And then maybe we pop to the upside and, we trade higher by 150 points and I catch a win, right? It's happened multiple times with me trading live on with traders that are trading in opposite directions. But yeah, do whatever you want to do. Project X is haunted, Zach. It changed with your take profit addition. Oh, it did. We were talking about my stop loss looking like it moved. I'm out 905 times 3. Very nice. Nice work. Thank you, Rambus. I'm just going for base hits, starting out with 5 micros, averaging if the move looks correct. Solid morning. Very nice. Waiting for day 4 reel. Go back and watch day 3 reel, and you will see the update. Should have been a bigger day and should be in this position. OG position on ES was 64 short on 5 micros and then averaging into a mini. We broke all levels. All good. Excuse me. Neo, what's up? Sick Nate. Got hurt on Friday. Morning, bro. How long do you spend in a pre-live account, Zach? It depends. Me personally, I've been in this for like 2.5 months. It depends. For me, for my assumption here of what's going on, I assume right now, given the change, well, not right now, for the past couple weeks, given the change with Project X and Tradeovate, I don't think they're creating any new live accounts, like live accounts from pre-live accounts, until they have everybody ready to go with Tradeovate. That's my gut. I don't know that for certain, right? I'm just kind of speculating there. But I'm going to have to be moved over to a Tradeovate account anyway at a certain point. And I think if they were going to put money behind my trading, that's where they would do it. But as far as like whether or not that matters to me from a trader perspective, it doesn't. All of the rules, the parameters, the settings, the benefits, the drawbacks, it all stays the same. The name changes and they actually have your orders getting sent to market. If anything, and I don't like to say this, if anything, there's actually a slight disadvantage because you don't benefit from the often better than real sim fills, right? In a sim account. So, if anything, a pre-live account with all of the benefits of a live account could be seen as an advantage to the trader if everything is going to be exactly the same when it comes to a live account. But yeah. And as far as that transition to a live account or to Tradeovate rather, which is going to be coming first, I don't know exactly when they're going to offer that up. I know they're going to say at a certain point, we're done selling Project X accounts because all firms except for Top Step are going to be done selling Project X accounts. They're going to say we're done, and now we're only going to be selling Tradeovate accounts. And then at a certain point, they're going to offer up, obviously, the transition for people that are on Project X to come over to Tradeovate. So I don't know when exactly that's going to be. I'm assuming the near future, probably right into the new year, into January, I would guess. That'll be the deal. Rambus, 2 hour right. It's been my struggle. Typos. Nate, you were talking about. I was going to comment on Nate before I read more. Nate, you were talking about holding your positions, this and that. Here's what I'd say, man. Here's what I'd say, right? Because a lot of traders, and this I don't think is your case, but a lot of traders say, man, if I had just held on, this would have been such a big win. Or if I had just cut it short, this would have been a win instead of a loss. You're not going to be able to get it right every day, and it's unreasonable to say, I'm going to do something completely different with my trade management every single day, and on Monday, I'm going to hold for, a 1,000-point move, and on Tuesday, I'm going to clip it at a 100-point move. You could be really discretionary with your closes, but I think in general, you're going to fall into, a category of base hits, lower RR, taking profits quicker, or holding on to trades for really, really big hits, right? Really capturing the large movement out of the day and take a lot of stop outs and a lot of break evens on trades that move in profit and then all the way back to stop you out. You typically don't get both, right? You're typically one or the other type of trader. A high win, higher win rate, lower risk to reward, or lower win rate, higher risk to reward, right? The guys that catch the biggest movements traditionally have the lowest win rates. Why? Because on all the days where there isn't a big move, they get chopped, right? They take a small loss. It's not that one's better than the other, but I think as traders, it is important to say, what type of trade management am I going to deploy in my trading? Does this make sense in back testing and forward testing? Is this something I want to deal with psychologically? And then recognize that if you're going to take your trades off, right? If you're going to take your base hits, you're never going to capture that huge movement, right? You're never going to capture the big runner, right? Maybe you try to go for a middle ground where you scale in, you scale out, you do these different things, but you're typically not going to get all of it, right? You're never going to be able to capture the best of all of it. It's going to be, a slight one way or the other. You're going to be on some side of that spectrum. But to talk about this trade, pushing lows here, not really aggressively selling off, but just slowly trickling lower. No real pullback. Few points in drawdown now. 450s would have been a little bit more conservative of an entry. Would have been a little bit nicer for an entry, a little bit wider stop. Again, I think we either come through the lows, rip through a stop, and head down towards that 48,000 evens. Maybe we don't go all the way down there, but maybe we come all the way down into like the 8,100s, right? Or we catch some buyers here. We pop back up to VWAP. Give me a W. All right. No trade management to the downside. No clipping a loser. No scaling out or scaling in or anything crazy like that. To the upside, it's going to depend on what this looks like. How much further we creep lower. What price action and market structure actually looks like if we start to turn to the upside. If we get initial balance in the next 15 minutes, maybe we look at something different. We're going to have to wait for some more information to see what that could look like to the upside. Yo, Zach, market is moving down, but are you seeing lower volume than usual on Bookmap? So here's the thing, ADO King. I'm not seeing a ton of variance on Bookmap. What I will say is these are December contract. These are the December contracts that I'm looking at. I'm really not messing with volume and open interest and seeing what's happening today. I'm assuming we're rolling based on what was going on for the last readout into Friday. And right around that time, in general, I find stuff like CVD volume to kind of be all over the place because it's dying down on one contract and then it's coming all the way on to the new March contract in this case, from December. So I kind of just, maybe I haven't gone through it enough to have enough experience to accurately say here's what's normal or what's not normal, but I try to kind of like grain of salt Bookmap a whole lot more around contract rollover, if that makes sense. Really like not do too much crazy utilizing it within trading decisions or not, but I am watching it today, obviously. Like I don't want to I can't mess with it really now, guys, by pulling it off. Otherwise, I'm going to just completely mess the stream up. But I was tempted a couple times. I went to go do it. I went to see if I could do it over here, but to load up the March contracts and look at what they look like on Bookmap. Yeah, I'll do it after the stream. I don't want to do it right now. I'll jack the whole stream up. I'm not that smooth with the overlays and everything on the platform that I'm using. If I start to pull stuff around, I got good chance I jack the whole thing up and I can't get it back to a clean spot. So it's but I would like to have loaded up the March contracts today on Bookmap. But after the fact, I will do that. We can take a look together, maybe in Discord. Good morning, Ice Melter backtesting. Train with Luhan, what's up? Yeah, if you guys didn't see, I got a reel going viral, which is that stupid internet trend of putting ice in a bowl and then like doing whatever your thing is for a long period of time until the ice melts. So I backtested until the ice melts. And of course, like in the classic internet fashion, Like, that's not crazy, right? Like, back testing, anybody could back test. It's like, it doesn't, like, I didn't put up like $100,000 or something crazy. Like, multiple comments. There was a candle literally on this desk that I'm sitting at behind it, so you could see the ice, because when I first started it and looked, you couldn't see anything. And multiple comments. The candle's melting the ice. There's a candle making heat to melt the ice. I'm like, oh my God, guys. You're going to make me back test for hours and hours and hours again. We're going to run this back. But in the traditional internet fashion, there's always going to be a naysayer. There's going to be somebody that's going to bring you down and say, whatever you're doing, even if it's not that exciting or crazy, can't possibly be. And that, you know, I find that a lot of people do that to make themselves feel better. You know, to say, oh, well, no, you didn't really do that. It's all fake. Everything's fake. And that's why I can feel good about, you know, sitting on my couch and not back testing for, you know, 4 hours the way that Zach did. Because it's not real. But I don't know. At least come up with connect the dots a little bit better. Come up with a better, someone said sauna. I thought that was kind of funny. He turned the heat up. But that shit was hysterical. The candle behind the bowl is melting the ice. So funny. Just reviewing. Oh, I know I like to critique perfection, but I'm very happy with both trades today. Still got the short, averaged in 8 micros. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Yeah, no, Nate. And again, I wasn't talking about trade management for you on that one. I think you have that down to a degree. But I think it's always important to take a look and say, you know, what am I going to do in general? Because I used to always feel that FOMO and anger, right? Like I would use a fixed take profit, a fixed stop loss, for example. And if the market ripped and kept going, I'd be mad. And all day I'd think, if I just held that trade, well, if you're not going to hold the trade every day, you're never going to catch that. So you're never going to catch it. Resign yourself to that. If you want to catch it, you got to hold a trade every day. And yesterday, when the market hit your TP and then came back, you got to be okay with, you know, letting a winner turn into a loser, right? In pursuit of that larger profit. So it was something that I struggled with and thought about a lot when it came to trade management, which I think is important. For Lee's in shorts, 25, 178, looking to take imbalance on the daily time frame, 25.062. Nice. Looking for 100 points lower on NASDAQ. Send it. Nice. Drop it. What's the reasoning behind set rules? I don't know what you're talking about, Juan. If you're talking about my rules, or I don't have many of them, or what I do with my trade management or style or approach, but if you have something specific, I'm happy to talk about it. Spiky, nice. At the Asia low on ES, it was going to reverse around here. Yep. I would say the same with YM, but we're still just continuing to slowly drift lower. Halfway to a stop for me, getting close to this prior day low, which is going to be the last ditch to find some buyers here. Doesn't look like it. Unfortunately, looks like it's just going to be the push lower and a short in pre-market or immediately through VWAP, which is really neither of the two trades that I take at all. Would have paid a continuation short if we had pulled back up here, kind of after my entry where I would have liked to take profit, would have presented an entry to the downside for me, maybe, right? Like if we did this, I would have already been out for a win if we did this, but I think a continuation short for something like that could have potentially paid, right? A retest of VWAP, but we didn't get any of that. We just pushed lower today. So not dead yet, but certainly doesn't look good. L's on the chin today. Maybe, chat. Maybe. We'll see. At Asia lows, we talked about that, right? Milk winners and cut off losers, for sure. So, ES, we meet again. Why do I hear the same song? The good, the bad, and the ugly. King Trader, hop on. As I see the comment a second time. Hop on my IG, and watch the most recent reel, so I don't have to repeat the entire reel to you, because I already repeated it this morning when I hopped on. But hop on my IG and watch the most recent reel after the one that says day 3. That was actually on the same one that says day 3. Watch that one, and that will answer your question in detail, along with videos and pictures and a whole bunch of fun stuff. You can't put VWAP bands on Project X, right? I don't think so. I don't think you can have standard deviation bands on Project X, but I'm not sure because I don't run them myself. Not 100% sure, but I do think they come standard on VWAP when you throw it on TradingView. Let's see, you guys were looking at ES breaking down to the downside as well. Slow, just kind of slowly drifting out to the downside on this. No real anything. Just a slow grind lower. No strong buyers showing up really at all. Definitely not on NASDAQ. Just NASDAQ looking way weaker than the others. Certainly different structure last week out of NASDAQ comparing against YM. No real big major pushes to the upside. If we did get anything, it was followed by an immediate reaction to come through the lows. NASDAQ looking weak up here, man. Very different structure out of NASDAQ. Much different structure out of NASDAQ. Just showing some serious weakness. Yeah, even ES, even ES not looking as bullish. All right, coming up on initial balance, we're gonna get our initial balance. Hopefully, I survive for initial balance low to set up. That'd be nice. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I didn't want to remove drawings. I wanted to almost fat fingered that. I did fat finger that. I want to pull up the object tree and get our initial balance high and our initial balance low set. I would love to survive the next couple minutes because at very least I would be able to maybe, even if we swept it, I'm probably going to get cooked on that one. But maybe we survive the IB low setting up and the IB high setting up here, which wouldn't be terrible. 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Opening range I like to look at. There's some pretty strong statistics behind it. With this structure, this now sucks to have my stop loss right here, but it is what it is, as the kids say. We continue to push lower for the next minute. This is going to extend to the downside. If we trade above this level, we don't push this candle any lower. This will be our IB low. Looks like we might push to the downside, so I'll just wait. We break this to the downside. It's pretty much gonna be lights out. No pullback up. No buyers found at an area of high volume. Not a lot of momentum to the downside though, right? Kind of just slow grinding. Not a whole lot. I mean, VWAP needs to be readjusted there. Not a whole lot. Just a slow drift lower. If you look at it on the 1 minute chart, really slow drift lower, which I don't really like, honestly, at all. But that looks like it's going to be our IB low. Get that in place, and we'll watch this one play out. Watch this one play. Take profit hit on trade. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. You can put Bollinger Band set in the middle as VWAP. Ooh, there you go. That's helpful. Took the sell. TP hit right before prior day low. Very nice. Orb. 50-minute orb. Nice. Nice. Very clean. Well done. Took the same. Still in. Very nice. Guys getting short ES to the downside on a just continuation right after the open. Not a bad play. Definitely not a bad play. Target. Happy with that. Nice. Very nice, guys. Very nice. Guys are hitting TPs on quick moves to the downside. I like it. Very nice. Oh, shoot. Checking some messages, seeing what we got rolling in. Anything else crazy here? But as always, appreciate you guys hopping on. Thanks for being here on this beautiful Monday, December 15th. We got a trade rolling, which I am happy about, man. There's only so long I could stay patient in this market. And I will say the structure on YM presented a lot of good opportunities over the last few months. Really, September into October, last month, last couple weeks, it's tested my patience. Really tested my patience intraday, and it's not only tested my patience intraday, it's given me setups, and you can watch the live sessions. It's given me a lot of setups that I've held like all day, or I've gotten in, after the open, and I've just been timed out. And then the move will just continue right into the Asia London session, and it's got me in other markets to trade these U.S. indices with the ability to hold them, with the ability to hold trades for longer periods of time, really swing trade them, which will be interesting. I'll talk more about it into 2026. I've got some goals with options. Number one, to just learn options as a whole. Traded quite a bit of Forex and CFDs, crypto, just your traditional stocks, and obviously futures, right? Coming into 2024, from 2023 into 2024. And options has been on my to-do list. They are just, in my opinion, the most complex. There's so many different things you can do with them. They're very unique. There's so much that goes into that premium, that I think it's just been something that I haven't wanted to try to touch. But there is a unique opportunity with them that I'm looking to work on. Traded the live futures brokerage account a bit this year, and it's been interesting, man. It's not as appealing as I thought it would be to be able to swing trade. You certainly can with decent sized balances, but at least for me and the broker that I was trading with, the margin requirements are heavy to hold through session changeover and overnight, and they were constantly changing around high impact news events. Like, they would increase to a huge amount, where if I was going to carry a couple of minis, for example, you're looking at a large balance that has to be in there, which if you're going to trade intraday is just not the case at all. It's like you could trade with heavy leverage intraday, the margin requirement is very small. So I like to utilize my money. I don't like to have to sit, huge lump sums, and you don't have to do that with options. Now, there's obviously other drawbacks to trading options. They're very different than futures. But different things that I'm looking at coming into 2026. But we'll talk more about that. Let's talk more about that. Let's see. MNQ, too easy. Nice. NHL profit. I love when people say too easy. I think the same. Nice. Great play. TP at yesterday's low. We'll share Discord. Nice. Tiny little bounce here. Or low break. Longs might be a nice setup on NQ. Yeah, if you're looking for the reversion, if you were going to wait for confirmation, which is really like not my play for some big reaction off of certain levels and then to hop in. Not too bad here. Don't think I'm out of the woods. This didn't find buyers where I would have liked it to find buyers. I don't love where my stop loss level is outside of IB low. I think even if we crack IB low, fail, and come back in, there's now a good chance that I take a stop on this one. We did reject, right? I can't be upset about a really nice rejection off of Friday's low. You could see why I do pay attention to prior day high and low. Here we are. How many points right off this low? Maybe you just trade rejections of prior day highs and lows. 134 points off that low. So buyers trying to defend this. Is it just a pullback before continuation lower? We often don't just reverse on a dime with a V-shaped recovery, right? We kind of chop, we sweep lows certain times. We trap all the longs in here, right? Everybody that comes in with the genius move to do this. You know, and we go and, you know, fill that liquidity real quick, run stops, and then pop back up. So it's going to be interesting here. I don't love the setup. Excuse me. I don't love the invalidation point being right here on this market structure any longer. There's no adjusting that for me, you know, moving it up or down. That's not my play here. So we'll see. We'll see if we can't catch some buyers. It looks a lot better than if we just knifed lower and took me out, but I almost like this less than a knife lower because I hate situations like this. Those are more painful. But let's see. You guys were talking ES, got a little bit of a reaction. Yeah, if we're gonna continue lower, this is a pretty nice pullback. Can we go and grab VWAP? I think I'd be pretty cautious if we pulled all the way back up to VWAP on this, guys. I gotta be honest. Got to be honest with you, but we'll see what the market's got for me today. We shall see what the market's got. What the hell did we run? Oh, we talked about that. Yeah, nice. Value very low bounce entry. Nice. Guys are looking long on ES. Nice. Hopefully you get the play. You know, we'll see. What kind of day are we going to form here? Are we really going to play to the downside, or are we going to actually chop around? We going to get retest of VWAP? Let's see. Wow, we are hanging out. Waiting for this trade to do something. Seeing if we can't come back through entry. Get some buying pressure. Wouldn't look bad, man. Get some buying pressure. Flip this thing back bullish and kind of chop up here. Go and retest. Don't break IB low. Break out through the high. I don't know that we get it. I really don't. That don't look too good. Right? Crack right down here, flipping bearish, dance with it, and then a pull back up. That would have looked really nice. This, don't know. But as we're hanging out waiting for this to do something, quick plug. If you want to check out the prop firm that I trade here live with you guys every dang day, you want to check out one of the best instant funding prop firms in the space, in my humble biased opinion, because I stand to make money. I'm a partner. I'm affiliated. Top One Futures, 50% off. That's their Christmas holiday deal. This is supposed to be ending this week, as far as I'm aware. But if you want to check it out, I will throw the link in the chat. Code RDF gets it done, as always. Boom. Instant funding, pretty solid. No activation, no time limit, no challenge. Right into a funded account, standing to trade towards profit. You can withdraw from day one. There's some drawbacks, of course. Consistency rules, profit targets, things like that. But the instant funded accounts, the 50Ks, the 100Ks, the 150Ks, some of the best opportunity, in my humble opinion, across the future space. Read the rules, right? They are getting more and more different. Prop firms, from what I see, they're attempting to innovate, which I think would be good for the space, but they're getting more and more different. It's less and less like comparing apples to apples, and the products are very, very different. What you have to do to work towards a payout are getting increasingly, not better or worse, but just different, right? The opportunities are going to be very different. And I think it's going to depend on you as a trader to decide what's important to you, right? How comfortable are you with challenges and, multi-day, 2, 3, 4 days to pass, 1 day to pass? How comfortable are you with no challenge, with a consistency rule, working towards, maybe 5 minimum days before you're able to take a payout? You want to copy trade a ton of accounts with ridiculous rules. You want the widest rule sets. I think it's going to be come down to you as a trader, right? And I say that being partnered and affiliated and biased towards Top One, but it might not be the best opportunity for you. I think personally, the instant funded account specifically covers a wide range of skill sets, trading styles, capital allocation, but there's certainly going to be things that are deal breakers for everybody, and that comes down to you as an individual. So excellent opportunities with Top One, with many other firms out there. I would say leverage them while you can, exploit them while you can, but do your own research, read the rules. And I often see partners and affiliates, or even just regular traders, say this is the best firm, the best. Well, the best for who, bro? The best for you, maybe. You might trade a system that requires an automated trade management approach that's only available on Tradeovate. And if a firm does not have Tradeovate, it's an absolute no-go for you. It's not even an option. Well, that firm might be, the one that somebody's screaming that's the best. That might be the worst firm for you. It's not even an option. You might be a home run hitter, and you might require a firm to have no percent consistency rule, right? Top One might not be an option for you. You might not want to spend time trading evals. You might find that they develop really bad habits, like YOLOing and trying to get through them really quickly. You don't want to have to face this challenge going from eval to funded, and instant funded might be the way for you, right? So, many different spots there. But if you want to check it out, half off everything, no minimum trading days to pay out. Code RDF gets you the deal. Link is in the chat if you want to check it out. Now it is in Kick as well. And gotta throw this one in there. 100% free trading community. The Discord link is in the chat as well. Lovely snowfall happening where I live. Oh, very nice, Release. Yeah, so I'm out of the tropics right now. If you don't know, I'm all the way south of the country, but my hometown is up north. I was getting a whole bunch of pictures from my family that they had like half a foot of snow yesterday. Pretty cool. So I'm headed there for Christmas, for the holidays, for a week. You can usually tell when I'm in a different spot because you can see the background behind me where I'm streaming from is different. But I'm excited for that. It's nice to get out of the beach in the 80-degree weather sometimes, right? Used to be big into snowboarding, but not so much anymore. But anyway, if you want to check that out, guys, 100% free trading Discord. No course, no VIP, no mentorship, 100% free. You guys can hop in there, hang out with me, ask questions, get more of what you see on here. My journey, my trading, connect with over 2,000 members, wide variety of trading styles in there. Everybody from, beginners, just getting started, to absolute prop firm killers, to live traders, guys that have been trading for significantly longer than me. I have hitters in that Discord, serious hitters in that Discord. And, again, they're no better or worse than everybody in there that's just starting out, which is really what I love about my community. I really do. Had to do some moderation over the weekend. Guys were getting a little bit feisty in there, but that's all good. We could drop the hammer when we need to. Damn, I'm hungry, man. My stomach rumbling. Are you in St. Croix, U.S. versus John's Blind Shits? I am not. I'm not. I'm down in. I'm in the States. I try not to dox myself too many times. I say it all the time, but I'm out of Florida. South Florida to be more specific. I do travel to the Caribbean quite a bit. My last career allotted me that luxury, but I do travel to the Caribbean quite a bit. I was there a couple of weeks ago, honestly, which is crazy. I was there last month. A lot of trips to the Caribbean. Man, back to entry on this one. So survived this potential stop. Now comes the question, right? Do we get this V-shaped recovery? Even if we get this V-shaped recovery, right? Do we got to check this out one more time? Do we got to dance down here? I'm not a close my trade. I'm not a hold into drawdown and then close my trade out for break even. That's not my play at all. Given the distance to VWAP from my entry now, as you guys may or may not know, VWAP is dynamic, right? It continues to move as price prints, as volume is traded. given the distance to VWAP now for my entry, this isn't even half an R. I will be holding for a breakthrough VWAP on this one. Not as ideal of a situation, but this is going to be a longer hold trade, as most of my trades are. I'm trading intraday here, but I'm averaging long hold times. I put my stuff on full risk, wide stop, wide take profit, no take profit, and let it rip. So we'll see. We have buyers trying to defend prior day low. You know, we've traded quite a few points off of this low now, all the way back up to this area consolidation. I will say, if we come back down through this low, this is going to look really ugly. I think this is going to be met with a lot of selling pressure right here. Why? This is a key level, right? Look at the volume profiles. Look at the price action market structure. Look at where I entered, right? That's why I entered there. Was anticipating this to be a key level to be defended by buyers on the way down to potentially pop back up. So, you know, I think my entry is going to be a break and retest point potentially for a short. If you're looking for a short, you could fade me at the exact entry right here. You know, I think that would provide you some risk structure with a trade all the way up above, you know, VWAP, where I'd be looking to take profit, right? You know, if we don't recover here, where do I think we're headed? Through the low, break IB low, and then continuing lower to put a nice bearish day in here. But that's not what I'm trading for. That's obviously not my play. We'll see. Got some sellers stepping in here right off of this area. You can even see it on Bookmap. Yeah, ES got a little bit of a bounce, but not too much. We'll have to see, chat. We'll have to see. See what the market's got for me today. I like my entry. I like this trade. I like that I found a way in without having to wait for too much of an insane extreme. A little bit more patience would have provided a really nice entry, even farther down below prior day low, like right at prior day low. But I don't know at that point that I would have had the confidence to get long. If we had sold off just a slow grind down, I don't know that I would have had the confidence to take a long down there. So I like my entry. We'll see if it ends up being a winner or a loser. Anyway, I'll be right back, guys. Not going anywhere just yet since I got a trade on. It's only 10:49 a.m. See what happens to this IB, right? Very unlikely that we don't break out from one side or the other. Let's see what we get. Does top on futures allow you to hold through sessions? No, they do not. No futures prop firms, as far as I'm aware, allow you to hold through sessions, which is, I wanted to trade my own personal live account this year in the futures market specifically because I've maintained multiple personal live accounts, but I want to be specific about the like a futures brokerage account. And one of the things I started to do on YM was hold overnight. And trading decent size is a pretty serious margin requirement. Intraday, it's very low. It's extremely low. You could trade, I could trade like, you know, with my balances, like a stupid amount of minis, you know, enough to make me sick. And I was trading a decent amount of minis for me, but to hold, you know, anything reasonable overnight for me in a live account like that, it's a pretty big margin requirement, which was usually okay. But what I also found was I wasn't aware that margin requirements consistently change with futures brokers around high-impact news events. We had a lot of those, you know, this year. We always have a lot of high-impact news events. And maybe it was specific to my broker. Honestly, maybe I just got to try a different broker. But that was like a lot to try to manage. It was a lot to try to, you know, wrap your head around constantly. And again, like I was talking about, I want to be able to trade. I want to be able to trade everything live. I love trading, you know, multiple different things. But I would love to be able to trade the, you know, contracts that I'm trading here with you guys every day, of course, live in my own personal account. And one thing I'd like to do is swing trade them, right? Hold overnight session. Maybe I'm not holding for multiple weeks, but like I got a trade that runs all the way into the close, and I'm like, I want my stop loss or, you know, or take profit to be hit. I don't want to get out here and then hope to be able to get back in after a gap up or a gap down. There's many other financial instruments that, you know, you're trading the U.S. index, right? The U.S. indice, where you can have exposure to. You can utilize a different financial instrument to do that. And multiple people to me, when I started talking about this, went, yeah, trade options, bro. What are you talking about? Just trade options. You know, get a feel for trading options. Pretty short expiration times, and you know, take a look at what that looks like. So, outside of doing it with stock plays, which is actually all I've done since I've dipped my toes in the water of options, which I would like more exposure to. I'm looking at doing that for the U.S. indices as well. So, something to think about if you're looking for different ways to be able to hold overnight. But to answer that question more specifically, that was a long rant before I was about to get up. No, you cannot hold futures contracts overnight through session changeover specifically for that reason, right? The prop firms don't want to take on that risk. It also, I think, would be extremely difficult to manage risk with the way that daily loss limits and max loss limits and everything that is done with prop firms functions. So no, I think there's. Well, I googled it a couple times. There's like one or two out there that have these weird. They're very different. They have these like swing trading futures accounts. Advantage Forex and CFDs. If you are not an intraday trader and you're a swing trader. Majority of Forex and CFD prop firms, allow that, and the Forex market, I think is better suited in general to swing trading rather than intraday trading. The way that spreads and fees and swaps and everything adds in. So that's the answer there. No. Had someone comment on a YouTube video. Top one futures sucks. They close you out at the end of the session. I'm like, I don't know, bro. Have you looked at any other futures prop firm? Do you know what's required in a live account if you don't want to close out at the end of the session and hold overnight where there's a FOMC the next day or NFP or something? So no, you can't hold overnight. You can't hold through session changeover. 4:10 p.m. Eastern, they kick you out. They manually close. Also important to note, that's a rule break at a lot of other firms. Certainly for live accounts, it's a rule break. It's not a rule break for top one. They close you out. I don't know what the rule is in live accounts, but I have had a couple people comment that I shouldn't do that. So it also doesn't make sense to do that. Like, why are you doing that? Just close yourself out at 4:09 if you want. Get out. But that is important to note that is a hard breach at other prop firms if you don't close your trade out and you have one running in an eval or a funded account or a live account into the close, which is that would suck, right? You could be in profit and just be holding a profitable trade and forget about it or something. So set an alarm. You got to know about that in live market conditions, right? Set an alarm. 3:45 p.m. You're going to hold it into MOC. You hold it into MOC. You let it rip, and then what? Go from there. And we'll be right back, guys. Right back. Back in action with you guys. Chat. Back in action with you guys. Chat. Let's see. We came up, retested. Yeah, I'm hanging on to this bad boy. I don't love that we didn't come right through that area. It'd be really sweet if we didn't come back down towards IB low, but we'll see. We'll see. I still like this one. And even if I don't, hanging on to it. Let's see. Yo, good morning. Daniel, what's up? Juan, what's up? Short NQ. I guess market wants to stay here. Probably not for long. Probably not for long. MMSM. I don't know what that is. Guess the market wants to stay here. ES got me again. We talked about that. So taking a look at interesting stat, right? Since we haven't broken IB high or low yet. Talking about this initial balance. It's one of the ones I pull a lot of stats from. Right? There's some numbers here. There's some statistics here around this initial balance. And the one that I'm actually curious is, how often do we not break? How often do we not break at all? Not if we break one side, not after it forms, which side is more likely to break first, not how far do we extend, not do we come back and break to the side, but how often do we just not break at all? I think it's only like a couple % of the days. Pull this up. Yeah, almost never. Well, not almost never, but not common. 3.5% of the days. Only 3.5% of the days do we not come outside of one of those purple lines, which is the initial balance. 72% of the time over the last year. This is over the last year of data. Probably be even more if I throw it back farther. Not loading. What does 6 months got? 6%. 6%. We've had a couple of inside choppy days this year, as of recent. 72% of the time over the last 1 year of data, we crack one side of that initial balance. We do not come back up or down to crack the other side. If we break out, we typically do extend by a pretty decent amount. We typically don't just sweep it. I'm trading against only the first statistics so far. 2 of them, which I really pay attention to and I don't like being on the wrong side of. But I got to trade my level to level first, right? I kind of have things that go in order, right? How much weight I'm going to give on a trading decision, right? I'm not trading initial balance exclusively. If one thing happens, then another. I'm not trading the opening candle continuation. But it's important to note these, right? Based on the initial balance low forming second, right? Meaning this high was put in first, this low was put in second. We had the high of the 9:30 a.m. candle, the low being the 10:15 a.m. candle, right? Time-based levels. We have the initial balance high, a low formed second. This is more likely to break first by a pretty strong statistic, which is, let's actually get the numbers for it over the last 1 year of data. Over the last 1 year of data, if the IB low is formed first, if the IB high is formed first, the IB low is formed second, we break the IB low 67% of the time. That's not that strong. 67% of the time we're breaking this first, right? And we know that only 3-4% of the days over the last year do we not break either side. And we know if we break one side, right, it kind of throws this chain of statistics into effect once, this sets up. So this is kind of something you can utilize in your trading, right? You can find this stuff in backtesting. You can get it from data providers. I use Edgeful for this. Again, I'm partnered, I'm affiliated, I'm biased. Stand to make money from them, but I think it's an interesting, subset of statistics that you could use around a specific time in the market, which is, what a lot of us are attempting to do through back testing and forward testing, right? Really, really simply, what patterns tend to repeat themselves, right? So unfortunately, nothing has been thrown into effect yet outside of that. We're really not likely to break. We're really not likely to not break either side. We're most likely to break that bottom side first. One other one that I've been watching more and more of, which it's a pretty strong one, and it's pretty strong on YM specifically. That first hour, and again, it lines up with the initial balance. That first hour opening candle continuation. If the first 1 hour candle prints red, we are far more often than not printing a red day. We're going to close that as a red candle, a bearish candle. If we open green, right? If we have a open for the first 1 hour that prints a green candle, we got a strong stat behind that, closing out a green day. So I'm trading against that one as well. Again, took this trade well before all of these set up or before we even started. But as the day wears on, right, you can kind of pay attention to more of these things. Maybe you utilize that in your trade management, right? I could utilize these by having more discretion and saying, well, if we get farther and farther, I'm going to apply more of my discretion, more of, some of these statistics into consideration. I'm going to close this out because all of these things say, one thing is more likely to happen over another. You can use them for setup specifically. You can just be aware of them. I think it can be helpful, right? To kind of just be aware of some of that context. But Edgeful, if you want to check that stuff out. Link is in the description of this video. Link is at realdealfutures.com. You guys can check that if you want. Again, you could also just backtest, right? Play trading view in replay mode, which is the backtest I did with a bunch of ice melting. But I like to do that stuff a lot. And sometimes I look at one market thing. I don't really do backtesting that way anymore, but sometimes I look at one, market time frame, right? A time-based level or some market-generated information. What happens every day? If we print a red candle for the first hour, what happens? What does that day look like? Well, if you went back and backtested that, 71% of the time, if we print a green candle for the first 1 hour, we're closing that day green. It's about the same on the red, about 70% over the last year, right? There's things that are much, much stronger than that. Stuff for power hour is really strong stats around power hour. What happens in the last hour of the day is very, very consistent. And you can look to try to exploit that, right? Or at least make yourself aware if you're going to trade against it. Hanging out with you guys, man. Sitting through this trade. I'm gonna hang for a little bit. I want to see. Do we come through the low really aggressively? If we come down and test it, what happens? I'd like this to be a stop or a W while we're hanging on stream. No trade management yet on this. I don't think it's really going to give me much outside of an L or a W. Again, opportunity to close for $50 in profit after sitting through $500 of loss. That's not my style. I just don't provide. I just don't think that trade management provides a good long-term outcome. Constantly holding through losses and then closing your winners at break even. Constantly holding through winners and then closing at break even. I'm much slower to move, especially with this style of trading, to break even. I don't find that helps me, right? And I watched a video, right? It's always like painted so nicely. I watched this video. Of course, I'm on social media all the time watching everything. It was like such a good case, and it went viral for going stop loss to break even. I went stop loss to break even, and I took 3 stop outs today, and then I caught a 10R trade. Every time you go stop loss to break even, you get so mad when your trade gets stopped out. Well, picture what would have happened if you didn't go to stop loss to break even. You would have taken 3 stop outs, and then you would have had to try to come back from that. And it completely like just didn't even pay any attention to, is every one of your break even trades going all the way through to stop you out? Or are some of those stopping you at break even and then ripping 100R in the direction of your trade? So be cautious of the new age social media guys, because it almost got me. I was like, damn, he's got a good point, bro. Stop loss to break even. Like, make it risk free. That makes sense. Like, what do I care? Honestly, the way that people describe stuff sometimes is so just completely missing, and it's such a key point of what they're talking about. But I watched one like that. I was like, damn, that's really bad. You're completely not talking about the double-edged sword of trade management that is always present. But yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, bro, go stop loss to break even. Why are you mad? You got stopped at break even. Let the trade stop at break even. Imagine if you didn't do that, those would all be losses, and then you'd have to come back. I was like, whoa, wait. All be losses? Who said they would all be losses? Are they all losses? Every trade is a loss if you get stopped at break even automatically? That goes all the way through your stop loss? Maybe for you, maybe not for me or for many other people watching this. Maybe you've watched me trade live and go stop loss to break even and over and over and over again, watch the market tick me out and then rip, right? it didn't help me, right? So, it's unique. It's unique to the individuals. No one right or wrong way to do that is what I'm talking about here. Review your data, right? Review what happens most of the time if you go stop loss to break even. Do they continue to use stop loss? Do they continue back into profit? What happens? What should you be doing for each individual trade? Important, definitely important to note. That one was funny, man. Really funny. Uh-oh. Wait. Why did that happen on the stream? No, don't do that to me. Yo, someone in the chat, let me know if you can still see and hear me. Someone in the chat, let me know if I'm still here with you guys. The stream just did something weird. What are we doing here, stream? What the hell? What the hell? Oh, we're still good. Weird. Glitching out. Tripping out on me. Let's see what we get, chat. Let's see what we get. Hanging tight with you guys in a trade. You guys got trading questions, prop firm questions, anything? I was reading another message. Literally just reading another message. I'm continuing getting asked about Project X and Tradeovate, all that fun stuff. So I will talk about that here for a second. So here's the deal, guys. If you don't know, if you live under a rock, you probably heard this already, but obviously a lot of people haven't. It's the question I keep getting asked over and over and over again, right? If you haven't heard, Project X, which is the platform that I'm trading on right now, a couple of weeks ago, essentially sent an email out to all prop firms. It seems like all prop firms got the exact same email, or one that was very similar. Outside of Top Step, who seems to either own or have a controlling stake or whatever with Project X. But essentially they said support for Project X is ending. Specifically for Top 1 Futures, I can speak on directly. Support for Project X is ending February 28th, or whatever the last day of February is, this year, 2026. In order to be ready for that, you should probably be looking at another platform that's available for whatever prop firm you're on, if it's not Top Step, which you've already been pigeonholed into Project X if you're on Top Step. For Top 1 Futures, that's going to be Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, and TradingView, right? They've been able to partner with Tradeovate and NinjaTrader, which is a huge vote of confidence from the premier platform in the industry. The timeline for this, they haven't laid out like options to swap and do different things. Right now, you can still buy at most prop firms, but for Top 1, you can still buy Project X accounts, you can still buy Tradeovate accounts because there's still support for both. I'm going to assume that into January, they're going to stop selling any new Project X accounts because support is ending. And I'm going to assume at some point into January or February, they're going to say, hey, if you're on a Project X account, you're going to have to swap over come the end of February or around February. At some point, we're going to have a hard date where everybody gets kicked over. You can probably voluntarily swap your account at a certain point down the road for that. The sad truth about this industry and trading as a whole is most people don't hold on to accounts. Most people do not hold on to accounts for a couple of days, let alone weeks, let alone months. It's probably not going to be that many people to swap over. But if you are starting new accounts, if you're trading current accounts, there's really nothing to worry about. But if you're going to start new accounts at any firm, but speaking on Top 1 Futures specifically, I'll be looking at the Tradeovate accounts, man. I'll be looking at the Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, TradingView accounts. That's one grouping that you can, pick. Because we're all going to be on those come March. I'm not going to put the tinfoil hat and talk about why Project X and Top Step, what the business decisions and, my thoughts and the whole thing on it. Top Step is the opposite. You're only able to trade on Project X at Top Step. That's been in effect for a while, and they seem like they're going to be the only ones that have it. I'm psyched on Top 1 Futures offering more choices, more power of choice to the trader. I'm hoping they get even more platforms, maybe like Rhythmic and Motive Wave and, other platforms that maybe traders are looking at trading on outside of even just Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, and TradingView. But I got a ton of tutorials that I'm rolling out on trading on TradingView with Tradeovate, which is my preferred way to do this. But yeah, that's pretty much the full scope. It's pretty much the full scope. But yeah, that's pretty much the full echo. My bad, guys. There's the feedback. If you guys have questions on that, feel free to ask. The constant issues with Project X have made this impending transition a whole lot easier. I personally like Project X. I've talked about Project X. I've defended it through issues in the past, and I'm not a flip-flopper. I love the user interface. I like the risk settings. I like the TradingView chart that seems to print very fast. I like all that stuff, right? Like the copy trading, which is really solid. What I don't like and have liked less and less and less every time it happens is the near weekly fatal issues where Project X just goes down, locks everybody out for doing everything, and thousands of people blow accounts. All of the great user interface and tools and all this great stuff, it doesn't mean anything if the platform's going to fail every week and I lose my account, right? So it's become, objectively, in my experience, one of the most unreliable platforms by a long shot as far as outages and fatal errors. Most of the firms have been able to try to take care of their traders, but there comes a point, obviously, where it's just way too frequent and they can't figure out what the heck's going on, where it's a no bueno situation. So Project X kind of imploding this year is making the swap over to Tradeovate, Ninja, TradingView a whole lot easier. I do not, I don't have that much tolerance for issues. I think every software, every platform, right, everything cloud-based and all this type of stuff, we're going to have an issue at a certain point, right? Whether you're on Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, TradingView, whatever, there's going to be something that happens eventually. But there's a reasonable frequency at which we should be having outages, and every other week, like it was over the past couple months, should definitely not be the frequency at all, right? So, it comes time for us, unfortunately, as traders to make a decision and say, hey, I don't want to trade on that. Maybe the prop firm's good and the opportunities are good, but that's all fine. But you guys are blowing my account. Maybe you give me free resets. Maybe you give me my account back. Maybe I go on tilt and blow a live account. I've read a dozen of those stories where traders are, cut out, go back in. It just jacks the entire day up. So I'm not stoked about that. It really sucks. But, part of it, again, kind of easing the pain of if it was still an option and, Top 1 Futures was just getting Tradeovate, at a certain point, I'd probably have to say, hey, dude, I got to get off of Project X. I can't trade on this crap anymore. It's just, out every week, blowing accounts, no good. So that's the deal. If you're trading on prop firms, I would say Tradeovate, Ninja, TradingView seem like the most prominent option across all of them. Project X is certainly not going to be any longer. They are going to only be available from one prop firm. So part of my 2026 goals and what I was working on with some of the sim accounts outside of doing the challenge and making more content is to make tutorials, but to get comfortable, right? To be able to be comfortable and start trading on a new platform, right? Different platform. Keep risk low while you do that. Maybe practice in a demo account, right? Trading's trading, the charts are the charts, but there's subtle nuances, there's subtle differences, right? And if you're, apt to make a fat finger mistake because you haven't been trading on a platform for the last multiple years, like many of us have, be cautious about that. Be aware of that. Think about how you're going to control that risk. That's my 2 cents with you guys. But yeah, come February, this will be it's already going to be probably pretty soon, a TradingView chart that we're looking at here. Let's see. Let's see. Back to entry, man. Come on. Through the highs, bro. Through the highs. Send it. Send it for me, YM. Let's start this week off right. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, no break of IB low yet. 9:17 a.m. Kind of just consolidating here, man. NQ coming back up to VWAP. ES coming back up to VWAP. This is gonna be decision-making time for all of these, right? Are we gonna flip this? Are we gonna flip this day on all these on NQ? Back to a nice green day. Start to push back up, settle back up here, right? What do I think is the most likely thing to happen? Dancing around, chopping where we're at on all of these, settling up here, settling down here, right? That's my style of trading. NQ could see a really big reversion if it actually decided to after that really gnarly selling pressure. I don't know if we get that out of NQ. YM, yeah, back up through VWAP, man. Back up through VWAP to go check out IB high. Check out where we were opening up from pre-market, man. So I'm gonna hang on to this one, guys. That's my game plan here. Back to break even on this, or almost. Not gonna clip it. Could have clipped it 47,000 times already. I like to hold my trades. Diamond hands, not always, right? It depends. I talk about this and I make jokes and I post the diamond hands meme in Discord. Paper hands, that Jackie Chan thing, I'll do it. Or whoever, Bruce Lee, whoever it is, mad funny. It's one of my favorite ones. With a trading style like this, I like to hold on to my trades. I don't find clipping them really quickly is the smart thing to do because it's not the thesis, right? If I jump down onto the 1 minute chart on ES and YM and NQ, like I've done in the past a lot, like I have a ton of hours of live trading doing, and I've been testing a little bit just because YM structure hasn't been so great for intraday trading. If I do that, it is a higher frequency. It is smaller movements. It is scalpier. It is stop loss to break even faster, right? It's adding into winners and controlling risk. So I don't like to blanket say I do one thing, but for what you see me doing here almost every day, it's diamond hands these bad boys. Hang on to it. Let the trade play out. Be right or wrong. If you clip yourself at break even every day, you're going to be break even every day. If you find that you're clipping yourself at break even and a lot of them move against you, continue to do that. You're saving yourself full stop outs. If you find yourself clipping you at break even and then a lot of them continue to move in your direction, like I personally have, going stop loss to break even, maybe hold on to those. Maybe diamond hands those bad boys. But yeah, man, just not a lot out of this. Back at break even. So quick plug one more time on this, guys. Actually, I'm gonna plug Bookmap. I'm gonna plug both of these. Bookmap's got a gnarly deal rolling. I'm partnered. I'm affiliated with Bookmap. It is this order flow tool over here on the left-hand side. You don't have to guess where certain types of liquidity are on a candlestick chart. If you're using any form of order flow, you don't have to use Bookmap, but you can if you want to. My favorite order flow tool. Be looking at the new contract. See what that looks like tomorrow. I'm actually interested to load it up after I hop off the live. But if you want to check it out, they are one of the only ones that are still running a deal as good or better that dropped on Black Friday. So they dropped a Black Friday deal and they've dropped a Cyber Monday deal, and the Cyber Monday deal is still rolling. So if you want to check out order flow this year, that's part of your, your 2026 goals. Start to wrap your head around using the depth of market, using an order book. I think Bookmap is an awesome way to do it. Check it out for yourself. I will throw the link in the chat. And you guys can decide for yourself if it's something that's helpful. Bam. Outside of that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap it up and leave this bad boy running. I know we did no duck race today. I got a lot of duck races coming. I can give you guys all that are on here since you didn't get one today. The early heads up. We're going to have one tomorrow. We're going to have a whole lot more fun stuff coming into Christmas and New Year's, man. Appreciate you guys being here. I'm grateful for all you being here. I go crazy with giveaways. I have to sometimes not run one. Otherwise, I'm going to be way too many giveaways and I start to get behind. But we'll be running one tomorrow for sure. And then a whole lot more coming into Christmas and New Year's. I think my high is 6 on one day. 6 individual instant funded accounts given out. Maybe we try to challenge that. Maybe we try to break out to all-time highs. Anyway, guys, appreciate you being here. Quick disclaimer. I'm partnered. I'm affiliated with Top 1 Futures, with Bookmap, since I was just plugging them. Do your own research. Make your own decisions. I can't be unbiased if I stand to make money. Trading's risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate partnership disclaimer I was just talking about. Appreciate you guys being here. Smash like, smash subscribe, do whatever you want to do. I'll see you guys in Discord. I'll see you guys live here tomorrow morning, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Have a great rest of the trading day. Talk to you